Back again with another episode of the Content Condo Podcast. Now I have a guest right here. Some of you might know him. I've been really looking forward to bringing in Nick Steven Manca. Welcome to the Content Condo.
Oh, man. Thank you for having me.
Dude, thank you so much for coming. This has been a long time coming. We've been going back and forth for a minute, but I'm glad you can swing by, drop some gems for us. And, I guess just want to start out, tell us a little bit about yourself. Growing up in Miami, starting at 11, I want to hear the whole story.
Yeah, Nick Steven Manca, 35 years old, born and raised Miami, Florida. Started promoting when I was a teenager in high school. Big promoter background. Started working at 11 when I was 24, back in mid 2014. And I've been there now 12 years, and anything hospitality related, I've learned at 11. And, now I'm just looking to continue to grow in that space.
Wow. I know. I mean, you're one of the original employees of 11. Like, you saw it when they were just opening, when it was just, could you have dreamed where it is today?
To be honest, when I met my current bosses, Rob and Zach, before 11 was open, I remember they were giving me the blueprint of what 11 was going to be, this big ultra club downtown Miami. And at first I was like, man, these guys are nuts. Like, there's no way that this concept is going to work. Because if you're from Miami, you know that 13 years ago, downtown, it wasn't the safest place, in Miami to be hanging out. All you really had was Club Space and a few other nightclubs that were in that district. And I didn't really believe in the brand so much in the beginning. But one thing I had was I had faith. And like I said, I came from a promoter background, and it was a point in time in my life where I realized that if I wanted to really take things to the next level in hospitality, that I needed to turn a new leaf. And that new leaf was leaving the promoting, in the past, and become, a real legitimate VIP host. And that was the main reason why I joined the 11 team.
So what position did you first start at 11?
So when I started back in 2014, it was a entry-level host. So now, we're well-structured, 12 and a half years in. We have different tier systems for our host department. But when I started, there was no such thing as tiers. It was just everybody was equal. So I came in there not knowing too much about what VIP hosting was. Because like I said, I came from that promoter background. So I just started as an entry-level host and worked my way up to where I'm at now.
And you mentioned that you might not have really totally bought into 11 right when, I guess, the bosses were kind of selling you on it. One thing I know about 11 is that it seems like they were always all in right from the beginning. And I think that's because they bought the land, right? A lot of nightclubs, restaurants, bars, whatever it is, they just get a lease, whatever. It looks like 11 invested in this area, this maybe bad neighborhood right from the beginning. So was it maybe kind of seeing the people hiring you, knowing that they seemed to be all in? Did that encourage you to kind of take a chance on it?
Yeah, definitely. And the fact that a lot of the people that were working there at that time were not from Miami. So I looked at that as an opportunity. The way I was looking at this was, I haven't really built a name for myself at that time. I was a low-level promoter trying to create a name for myself. And where I was currently working at that time, it was kind of hard to build that name for myself. So when I had the opportunity to go to 11, I looked at it like, okay, well, there's a lot of people here that are coming from different parts of the world, and I'm one of the few local guys, and I could be that point of contact if I do the right thing. Yeah. So I looked at it as an opportunity, and that's why, I put it on the chokehold and I joined the team.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. I mean, who could have imagined for it to be where it is now and where it's even heading? I think it's super, super exciting. Tell me a little bit about, I'm really curious about 11 at its early days. I want to hear about, what were you there at 11's opening night? What was your first shift like? I want to hear about the early days.
So the way I started with 11 was, like I said, I met my current bosses. I met some of the operating partners before 11 opened up. This was, while it was in construction. I remember taking a hard hat tour. I regret till this day not taking a picture of myself inside of 11 while it was under construction. And I had a job basically waiting for myself because I built a relationship with my bosses early on. Mm-hmm. And they were coming to Miami, doing market research. I was taking them out. We were hanging out. And we really got to know each other on a personal level before ever any business came into play.
And you're probably in your early 20s at this point.
Yeah, I was 23 and a half, turning 24.
Wow.
And right when 11 was, going to open up, I had the opportunity to obviously join the team. But like I said, I was working somewhere at the moment, and I was trying to move up the corporate ladder where I currently was at. It didn't quite work out for me. So I joined 11 going into 5 months of it being open.
Okay.
I did go to the grand opening. I
Yeah.
did go to the Friends and Fam. I still had a very, very good relationship with the 11 ownership and management team those first 5 months. Something happened at the club that I was working at, and I said, you know what? It's time for me to take a chance. This is it. And I showed up to the first casting call that 11 had right
wow.
after it opens. Right after they opened, and that's when I started my journey with 11.
Okay. That's a really unique story because a lot of people now are trying to break in. I mean, those casting calls back then. I remember I've been to a casting call 11 years ago, or even recently. I've seen them, people literally lined all the way around the block.
Yeah.
Was it different back then?
It was definitely different back then because in the early stages, nobody believed in the brand. Nobody thought that 11 was going to last. The locals, the hospitality scene in Miami, nobody really believed in us.
Because this is also probably going back to like the prime days of Live.
Correct.
And,
yeah.
Like Grumman was on the rise at this time, and there was probably a lot more competition. And you guys are kind of like the new kids on the block coming into an area, part of town that nobody wants to be in.
Yeah.
Right. So what was like better back then, and what was like worse back then compared to today?
Well, what was better back then was honestly like. It was just everybody was so hungry. Everybody was the grind. Everybody was trying to prove something, right?
Okay.
Like everyone that worked at 11 wanted to prove everybody wrong.
Okay.
I wouldn't say things were better back then because things are definitely better now.
Okay.
Right? But we had to earn that because, like I said, nobody believed in the brand back then. So we definitely had a little chip on our shoulder where we felt like we had to prove it to the city and honestly to the whole world that 11 was here to stay.
Sure. And I'm not really asking like what was better or worse just in terms of like the overall experience. I'm just kind of more curious about maybe just like the mentality at that time in the mid 2010s. Maybe there wasn't as much social media. Like what was different about the culture back then in the Miami club scene, the club scene in general, maybe compared to what it is today?
Yeah, there definitely was a lot more competition. There was a lot more clubs that were opened up. Back in 2014 when we opened our doors. Social media was big, but it was nowhere near as big as what it is today. AI wasn't, such a big thing, back in 2014
Of course not,
either.
yeah.
Things have evolved, things have changed, but it's all changed for the better.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of changes. And, going back 10 plus years ago, I don't know if you could have ever foreseen the 11 residences. And that's the one thing that I want to touch on because there's a lot of, places in the hospitality world, the nightlife world that are just trying to make it by. Not many of them are building 2 twin towers.
Yeah.
So can you just tell us a little bit about, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have probably seen on social media a lot of the renderings, the pool club, just how the towers are ultimately going to look. Can you just tell us a little bit about what we might be able to expect with the 11 residences?
Yeah, for sure. I'll definitely give you guys a little sneak peek. So it's right across the street.
Yeah.
11 hotel and residencies, 2 twin towers, 62 floors, few hundred luxury units combined. It's going to be a game changer for sure. What I'm looking forward to the most is the pool that we're going to have in Tower 1.
I've seen that pool club, man. It's looking nice.
When people come to Miami, they're thinking boats, they're thinking pool parties, but in reality, we don't really have much of a pool party scene in Miami. So when we do open up our doors, I think that pool is really going to dominate the pool scene in Miami. And I'm really looking forward to it. And the best part is that it's right across the street.
Yeah.
It's right across the street. So people are literally going to be, going back and forth from the hotel to the club, nonstop.
You see, the owners must have had a vision back then because they bought the land.
Yeah.
Without owning the land, there would never be no 11 residences.
Yeah.
So they knew back then.
They definitely went all in, from the very, very beginning.
Yeah, which has now kind of created that path for them to kind of build up from here. Talking about the pool club, is that going to be like a day club now?
Correct.
Where the public can buy
Correct.
tickets and go?
It's going to be just like, Las Vegas. When you go to the Las Vegas Strip and you're experiencing all those pool clubs that they have out there.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing the exact same thing, just, in our own 11 way.
That's incredible. That's absolutely insane. I mean, I just saw the Omnia Las Vegas just open
Yeah,
up their day
massive,
club. I saw some
massive.
drone footage out of there. I think last weekend was the opening weekend.
Correct.
Insane. So I
Yeah.
mean, there's definitely still a hunger and a thirst for people to kind of go out during the day and have those day club
Yeah.
experiences. And I'm trying to think if there is anything really like that in Miami. I'm sure there's some places on the beach. There's SLS, Strawberry Moon, but once there's something like this downtown
It's like I
with the
said,
11 branding,
it's gonna dominate. I have a lot of faith in it, and
I
I hope the
mean,
content condo crew is at the grand opening.
I would love. Listen,
Yeah.
I would love to be there, man. That's what I was asking. Is it going to be open to the public? I'm
Yeah,
trying to hint
absolutely.
at
It'll
it,
be
man.
open every day, and then on the
Yeah.
weekends, we'll do the big activations with the big
Yeah.
DJs, the big performers.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's exciting. So a little bit more about the residences. There's a lot of. Does that kind of go in hand? Because I hear how 11's like a hospitality company, but I've kind of always kind of viewed it more as like a lifestyle. And I see a lot of these branded buildings and these towers coming up. Like there's the Mercedes tower that they're building in Brickell. I know Kygo's opening up like a palm tree
Yeah, they're opening it up
building.
on the corner of us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nearby, right? So does now it seems like 11 is maybe like one of the first to kind of do it as like a hospitality brand. Does that kind of align? You think that kind of aligns with the vision of how 11 is maybe more of a lifestyle rather than just
Absolutely. Yeah. I remember back in the day when, 11 first started, it was just an ultra club. And then when we made our first snapback and, we saw how popular those hats got,
yeah,
the owners, Dennis, Gino, Daniel, they went all in with the merch line, and
I know.
the merch line just exploded. And then from the merch line, it went into the vodka, and from the vodka, we started accepting crypto, and then we started doing pop-ups worldwide. It definitely went from an ultra club to a lifestyle brand. And then when 11 announced the hotel back in late 2020, that's when I think we really, planted that flag in downtown and turned that place into the nightlife district.
I think so too. And I'm still curious about it. Like the buildings are like the both towers seem to be like right
They're
hovering
right.
over
The only
club
thing
space.
between it
So
is
what's the
club space.
So
Yeah.
is there contention there?
No, I mean it's great for the neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's great for the neighborhood. Like
Yeah,
if
it's
you
true.
owned a nightclub that was across street from 11, and then
Yeah.
they're
The
building
overflow.
2 twin tower hotel and residencies where there's
Yeah.
going to be hundreds of people there on the daily basis.
And retail's coming.
Correct.
There's more people
we're-
actually living in the building.
We're bringing so many jobs to the city.
Yeah.
We're bringing so much foot traffic. It's great for the neighborhood. You can't
Yeah.
complain about it.
I know. I heard something about the 11 residences, how it's like there's like not a lot of parking or something because there's no reason to leave.
Yeah. No, we're making it work. We're making it work.
I like
We're
the
working,
marketing.
we're
you
working
know
with
what
the
I mean?
best valet company out there for sure.
So is there parking there?
Absolutely.
Is that a rumor?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So
Yeah.
there is parking there.
plenty
To
of
be
parking.
clear. All right.
Yeah, and we got a helipad too if you want to, get
I've
dropped
seen
off
that.
in your
I
helipad.
know. I think so. I think it's just now 11 and 10,000 Museum, like the only towers in downtown that have a helipad on the
Yeah.
rooftop. I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of action on those helipads.
Yeah, send the content condo chopper
Well,
to drop you guys
we,
off.
we're actually partnered with Island Miami.
There you go.
Yeah. So I mean, it's really not. You're not just selling a property. You're selling a lifestyle, a one-stop shop. I heard also all the residents at the 11 residences are also get access to the club.
Correct.
Just like anytime.
Yeah.
So how's that work? There's like
You
it has a
definitely-
fob.
You definitely have perks. I'm not gonna list all the perks.
No.
We'll be here for an hour. Getting into detail, but
Yeah.
there's definitely a lot of perks when you own a unit. Remember, it's hotel and residencies.
Right. Okay. So one thing that you kind of mentioned earlier is that 11 has the merchandise. I mean, we see the 11 hats everywhere, not just in Miami. I was in New York. I saw people wearing the 11
Yeah.
hats. All right. There's the 11 vodka. Obviously, there's the nightclub. There's the crypto. It seems like 11 has so many different revenue streams, which is one thing that I've really, really admired about the 11 as a brand, as a company, that they're super adaptable. Because let's say there's a COVID shutdown or something happens where the club can't operate, or like there's still a lot of ways for the business to thrive.
Yeah.
Which is what I recommend in like all types of business. Find something that isn't just one niche; it's kind of expandable. Can you tell us a little bit about I heard a McDonald's executive say how McDonald's is not a restaurant; it's a tech company that just happens to sell burgers. Is 11 a hospitality company that also does like I don't know
Yeah.
how does that quote kind of speak to you and maybe in terms of the 11 brand?
I like that quote. The way I look at it, with 11 is 11 isn't just an ultra club. It started off as an ultra club that catapulted into a lifestyle brand where it wasn't just, okay, yeah, we're coming to the club and we're just selling bottle service, hats, and an experience.
Yeah.
Now it's, you could come to the club, you could eat at our restaurant, Giselle on the rooftop.
Right.
You could
Shout out
drink,
to Alan Roth.
there you go, my
Yeah.
man. You could drink the 11 vodka.
Hmm.
You could buy an 11 hat. You could pay in crypto. You
Yeah.
could go experience one of our pop-up events in Monaco, in New York City for the World Cup. If you
Scottsdale.
own a hospitality brand and you want to, open up an account with our sound system, we have our own 11 sound, right?
Oh.
The Dennis DeGore, he's the owner, founder, creator of 11. Him and his partners, they did a magnificent job of creating so many verticals under the 11 umbrella.
I know, and that's one thing that I admire. And it seems like it's constantly expanding. I'm wondering when is where's when's there going to be a 11 media company? You know what I mean? Something like that, because I know we're really transforming into the digital age and with AI and automation, everything like that. I'm excited I feel like there's still so much green grass out there for 11 to scoop up and continue innovating on.
Yeah.
So one thing that I want to, so you kind of mentioned that how 11 has a number of different pop-up events. I remember seeing y'all were out at Scottsdale for the Super Bowl a couple of years ago.
Correct.
Tell me a little bit, how do those pop-up events kind of come together? It seems like whenever there's a big event out there, 11 somehow is involved.
It all roots down to, relationships, the
Okay.
people that we know from all around the world. And it's important for the 11 brand to be recognized during major event weekends like Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We've been doing Super Bowl pop-ups for many, many years. And we always make sure that we're aligning with hospitality brands that complement the 11 brand well.
Okay, so 11 has that reach, or I guess the network and the relationships that when there is a big festival, an event or game or whatever it is, that you see it as an opportunity, saying we want to be involved here.
Absolutely. Our most recent one was Halloween. We went out to New York City, partnered up with Cipriani, and we did an amazing Halloween party out there.
Wow.
Sold out event before the doors were even opened up. And now coming up, we're going to be in New York City for the World Cup final, partnered up again with Cipriani, and we'll be doing back-to-back events out there.
Okay.
And the World Cup, it's going to be huge. It's going to be massive. I think it might even be bigger than what the Super Bowl in Miami was.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, time will tell, because you can feel the hype for the World Cup.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the flights, just flights and traveling this summer, everything's overpriced because of the World Cup.
Yeah.
Especially through June.
It's important for us to be seen during a massive weekend like that, where you're getting clientele from all around the world.
So are these pop-up events, are they primarily money making opportunities for the club or for the brand, or is it more for the exposure and kind of the name recognition?
Yeah, money's definitely being made.
Okay.
Money's definitely being spent.
Yeah.
But what we're getting out of this is definitely the branding and the exposure. That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I mean, it's safe to say, we talk a lot about Miami and everything, but I do truly believe that 11 it's national, if not international. I think it's a brand.
We, the whole team, they work really, really hard to get to where we're at, and we're very lucky, fortunate, and blessed to, be awarded #1 club in the USA and
That's
number
right.
6 in the world.
That's right. No, I think it's definitely very, very earning and very deserving of those accolades. I want to talk now a little bit about you. I follow your social media a lot, and I see that you have a lot of your own, personal things that you got going on in terms of your own festival. Just tell us a little bit about, Baja Beach Fest, how you got involved in that, and what we can expect this year.
Yeah, so I had the opportunity 6 years ago to get involved in the music festival business.
Okay.
I had no experience whatsoever, but I had a good opportunity in front of me, and I took it. It was a leap of faith. It was a challenge, and me personally, I love to challenge myself to see my capabilities, to see what I'm made of, and it was definitely a big learning experience, because when you're coming from the nightclubs, you could have a bad night, you could have a bad weekend, but you can make up for that the following weekend. But with the music festival business, all odds are against you. It could start raining. Anything could happen.
Yeah.
And you don't have next week to make up for that. You only have that weekend. And I learned a lot from being involved in the music festival business. And what I've learned there, I've been able to bring, into 11 and vice versa as well. Both industries, they both fall under the hospitality, umbrella. If you ask me, festivals are obviously a little bit more in the live entertainment space, but they complement each other very well.
It seems like a natural transition for you, probably because, as
Yeah.
you say, relationships are everything.
Yeah.
So, and you've been with them for the last 6 years?
Yeah, the festival's been around 8 years. I've been with them the past 6.
Okay, and what's your role specifically with the
So
festival?
I'm the VIP director alongside my partner, Matul.
Okay.
He's a big hospitality guy based in Atlanta.
Okay.
And he was the one that presented me with the opportunity. And I said, you know what, let's do it. And we helped build and create a brand that's called Baja Beach Club, which is essentially a nightclub inside of the festival.
Oh, okay. It's like your premium level or your VIP
Correct.
experience.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I remember seeing a video of you on Instagram or something, and you were like, I guess, directing the staff of like, all right, when a guest comes here, wristband, they go here, they go this way. It's like this guy's talking.
That was the behind the scenes.
It's like this guy's talking about it as if it's a nightclub or something. I mean, you truly created.
It's literally a nightclub inside of the festival. It's super cool.
And you operate it as like an 11 satellite location or however you would normally operate.
Yeah, everything I learned at 11, I was able to bring there and put it into effect. And I'm excited. Year 6, it's about to be our biggest year yet.
I know. I saw that. I saw the lineup. It looks like it's.
Yeah.
It looks like it's gonna be a big one.
It's gonna be massive.
Is there any other things like that you're trying to get into more, or is this more just like a passion project for you, or?
It's definitely a passion project. Learning experience for me.
Okay.
I'm always open to new opportunities, but my main thing at the end of the day is always 11.
That's the main thing.
That's the main thing.
Yeah.
And I'm a big believer of keeping the main thing the main thing.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to spread yourself too thin. If you have hands and fingers in 20 different things, you're nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it's also really good to, like, rather than try to be good at a lot of things, try to get really good at one thing.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
I agree with you.
So I think that's really good. And I've also seen you, definitely in the last, probably year or two, I've seen you popping up at some Ivy League universities.
Yeah.
Talking to the people, talking to the youth, the kids, the next generation.
Giving back.
Tell us about that. How did you get involved going to Harvard Business School, Cornell? Give me the tea.
Yeah, so it was funny because I was never a fan of public speaking. I was actually a little terrified of it, right? Like I was cool with, standing up at work and speaking in front of my team and whatnot, but I would still get the jitters here and there. And then it was about 2.5 years ago, I said to myself, you know what? I want to do more than just be the nightclub guy. I want to create a personal brand for myself that is focused on hospitality, and I want to begin to public speak. And the public speaking, I didn't want to be necessarily a motivational speaker because I felt like I haven't accomplished enough to become a motivational speaker. But what I had accomplished so far was a good amount of experience in the hospitality industry where I could teach based on real life experiences. So I read a book called Unreasonable Hospitality, and the minute I finished reading that book, I said, you know what? Like I wanna go all in on this. And it's funny how everything comes full circle. I got a message on LinkedIn, and it was from a student at Cornell that was asking me for some help. He wanted me to basically be an advisor to him and this startup brand that was hospitality related, and he needed some help. And he wanted to pay me for this. Mm-hmm. And me, I'm a big picture. I play the long game. That's how I've always looked at things. And I told him, I go, look, bro, don't pay me. I'll give you all the help that you need. But what I want in return is I want you to get me to speak at Cornell.
Like that.
And I wasn't even asking for a lot of help. I go, look, just make some introductions and I'll do the rest. His response was, look, I'm not majoring in hospitality, but I do know some people that are. Let me talk to a few people and get back to you. It was a work in progress. It was a lot of back and forth for a few months. but I was able to get in touch with the right person at Cornell, and they said, you know what, let's host 11. Let's bring you guys out to Ithaca, and you guys could speak to the students that are majoring in hospitality. So it was funny because I went from not doing any public speaking ever in my life to being a little fearful of it, to then having my first public speaking engagement at Cornell, Ivy League school, which is top 3 hospitality programs in the country.
Wow.
So you know how they say, like, oh, you gotta crawl before you walk, and you gotta walk before you run. I kind of felt like I skipped the crawling and the walking, and I just like started off running with public speaking, because Cornell, at the end of the day, it's a big platform when you're talking about universities.
Yeah, I mean, they're literally an Ivy League university. This
Yeah.
isn't just like, a community college or anything like that. This is like, it's big time. I didn't realize they were like a top 3
Top 3.
hospitality. Yeah. And 11, I mean, it's such a big brand. I mean, I'm sure they were definitely lucky to have you, and you gave a lot of the gems. And I saw that you also at Harvard Business School as well.
Correct. I've been very lucky and blessed and fortunate to now I've done Cornell twice.
Okay.
I've done Harvard twice in 1 year. And most recently, me and the team we're at FIU, doing some speaking there as well.
So, and when you talk to these hospitality majors, these students, what are some of like the major things that you're trying to leave them with?
It's 3 things. When I was young, I started promoting when I was 16. By the time I was 19, I was all in on this industry. And the one thing about me was that I always did my homework. I always knew who people were in the industry, from the nightclub owners to the managers to everybody, right? And I remember being a young kid and trying to pick the brains of people that I looked up to at those moments. And a lot of times I got either, rejected, shut down, or just ignored. And it sucked at the moment. But I remember telling myself that, one day when I was in that position, anyone that wanted some advice, anybody that wanted to talk to me, anybody that wanted to pick my brain, that I would never turn them away. Mm-hmm. So when I'm going into these universities to speak, the goal is 3 things, and that's to motivate, teach, and inspire. Okay.
Motivate, teach, and inspire. And you've carried those things throughout your entire career.
Yeah.
And it's gotten you far. So kind of, in that vein, if there is a student out there, or not even a student, someone who just, wants to get into hospitality for all the right reasons. A lot of people that might want to get in for the wrong reasons, but talking to the people that really kind of, want to be in hospitality, like what's the best way forward? Because it's still very hard to break in.
Yeah.
Especially if you want like a role as like a VIP host or a managerial type of role. I mean, like what's the best way for someone to, let's say they want to work for 11, they want to work for the biggest, hospitality club, brand, whatever it is in the country. Like, how do you get in?
It's a mixture of things. When people are applying for jobs, and I'll just talk about hospitality because that's the industry that I'm in.
Yeah.
A lot of times people are thinking like, oh man, I need to have a lot of experience to land a job at any nightclub, at any hotel or restaurant. And don't get me wrong, experience it definitely plays a big role in the hiring process. But a lot of times you don't need to have a lot of experience. Sometimes you might not even have any experience, but what you do have is you have a good personality. Your personality is huge in hospitality. You have to be emotionally intelligent. That's huge. You could be book smart, but you might not be emotionally intelligent.
Yeah.
And that's going to hurt you at the end of the day in hospitality. You have to be emotionally intelligent. You have to know how to communicate. That's massive in this industry.
Yeah.
And you have to be coachable. You have to be open-minded. I've always been the type of person where I could learn from anyone. I could learn from the CEO. I could learn from a bartender. I could learn from the bathroom attendant.
Yeah.
I could learn from an employee that just started on day 1. I'm just that type of guy, and I feel like that is a big part of the recipe to my current success.
Yeah, and that's very similar, because I heard someone say that, if you want to be the boss, you should know how to do every single job.
Correct.
If you want to own a restaurant, you should know how to clean the dishes, you should know how to cook, you should know how to clean, you should know how to be the hostess. So that's really kind of what you're describing, is that learn something from everybody in whatever role that you're in or aspiring for.
Correct. And by no means am I anywhere close to where I want to be. I'd be lying if I'd say, I haven't found some success, but I'm still very, very, very far from the success that I want to be at. And even when I do get there, like I'm still going to be that open-minded, coachable person. I'm still a student of the game, and I'm always going to be a student of the game, no matter how big I get in this industry.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's there's always something to learn, especially you can learn something from almost anyone.
Yeah, because remember the hospitality industry, it's constantly evolving.
Yeah,
it's constantly evolving, and if you're not keeping up with the latest trends, if you're not open-minded, if you're not listening to the younger people in the industry, they always know like what's hot and what's up and coming.
Yeah, I know.
You're gonna get left behind.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of like what we were talking about a little bit earlier. Like for 11, I mean, I think we're definitely heading into like more of like a digital age. And I know a lot of these like hotel brands, like the Cosmopolitan of Las Vegas or MGM, they have a mobile app where you'll literally get a notification on your phone while on property saying, hey, you're over at the pool, come get free $25 chips at the casino, come over here. So I still feel like there's a lot of, opportunity kind of doing something like that for 11.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, where's the digital component? Where's the app? Where's like the whole media landscape? Because I think that's definitely a direction that the world is going into, and it's kind of one of the next new innovations in hospitality.
I agree with you.
So I guess to kind of wrap it up, I've seen you a lot, obviously on Instagram, on LinkedIn. It looks like you're always networking. I know you have some networking events. Can you just kind of tell us a little bit about networking and what you have coming up?
I mean, networking, it's something that's always came easy to me.
Okay.
In the hospitality industry, networking is huge. There's a lot of big, important factors in hospitality, but I would definitely put networking in the top 3. The way I look at networking is you can't be afraid to talk to people. Doesn't matter who these people are. I've always been, and this has been since high school, I've always been that guy where I was friends with everyone.
Yeah.
I was friends with, the nerds, with the athletes, with the cheerleaders, with, the thugs, with everybody. And I'm still that guy till this day.
Yeah.
And I've never had any fear, introducing myself to anybody, no matter what they look like, no matter how successful they are, it doesn't matter. I'm treating everybody with the same amount of equal respect. And I think that is something that everybody should take when they're looking to network, whether you're just starting to network or whether you're currently networking, but you're trying to, progress in the networking field. Treating everybody with the same amount of equal respect is super helpful.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to help you, really build a Rolodex for yourself from all different industries, whether it's hospitality, whether it's sports, it's film, it's crypto, it's real estate. Mm-hmm. Treating everybody with the same amount of equal respect is the one piece of advice that I would give you. If you need help, getting, good at networking. And just recently, I threw my first ever networking event called Top Shelf with my partner, Brendan. He's the owner of Beano Agency. And it's something that, we're going to continue to do. And every event that we put on, we're looking to do bigger and better things that we did before. And it feels great being able to bring a bunch of, professionals, creators, entrepreneurs under one roof. Mm-hmm. And creating opportunities for all these people.
Yeah, I'm sure it's also rewarding to kind of see some of the connections that are made and business and money that's made because of these networking events that you're putting together.
Yeah.
And I really like how you talked about like, don't be afraid to talk to anyone. You know what I mean? Like most people are humans just like us. And I mean, for me personally, it's just go up to people, don't, just talk to them, introduce yourself. If you recognize someone, say, hey, I recognize you from here, would love to work, whatever it is. And a lot of time, I think a lot of people might appreciate that someone kind of has taken notice of them or their work or whatever that might be. So I can definitely totally relate to that. So I guess with that said, this was a really fun conversation for me. I know we've been trying to do this for a while. I'm glad we were able to get introduced. I remember I saw you at the Jake Paul fight a few months ago, and just like that, I was like, I recognize you. And I shook your hand. I was like, yeah, Nick, what's going on? And I'm glad that you can kind of, finally drop by the Content Condo. You're welcome here anytime. You know what I mean? I hope you come by again. And just thanks so much for stopping by. I'm definitely excited to kind of come to that 11 opening pool party. Crazy. I'm excited to get into that, man. So we'll have a lot of fun going forward.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
My man.
Appreciate it, Nick. All right. That's another episode of the Content Condo Podcast. We'll see you guys very soon.